Alright, I decided to take a break from this because the wiring's giving me a headache, and started working on trying to get this running, and I'm just gonna shorten it for you right now. This went from trying to get it started to an autopsy real quick. So, that's not really where the problems are. Right there, the magnets for the coil and the flywheel are no longer attached. And I mean, I could try reattaching those, but for this little tecumseh, not worth it. It sheared off the cover, or the thing that holds this cover on for the points. The carburetor linkage is all bent up. The governor link is messed up. The choke is messed up. Here's the inside of the cylinder. By the crosshatch, you can tell that it didn't have a ton of hours on it before it got water in it and rusted and whatnot. The only reason that I can't really save the rest of this tiller now is because this thing needs a second output shaft from, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it needs a second output shaft from the engine, which spins in reverse. This is the normal PTO output, but this one over here spins backwards for when you reverse the tines with this lever right here. So here it is working. You see, they spin opposite directions, and because this one's being driven off the cam, it spins much slower. So that's that. Well, you know, I guess I can technically make it work. Let me grab some vice grips. Alright, the trigger for the tines to go forward is locked now. Oh, it's not working. It's, well, if I turn the engine the right way. No, wait, that's the right way. Why isn't it working? It should be working. Yeah. Pretty sure some only the worst people out there will be able to tell what I'm doing right now and why. Oh boy. There's just so much wrong with this engine. I don't know if it's ever going to fire. Dang if I am not going to give it a good try. It shot something back out the carburetor. I don't know if that was just brake clean or did it actually fire or what? Wrong way. I've been pulling it the wrong way, I think. Dang it. Ugh. I think that's how I gotta pull it. I'm gonna. No, that's the wrong way. I had it right. Oh my gosh. Well. It's too cold out here for to think, to work. I mean anything. Just fire. It does feel like it's building a tiny hint of compression. So there's that. This run. I don't even know if it has spark. Let's see if it does. I mean, I know it has spark actually, because when I was testing it, I felt it more than once. But it has points. So there's a chance it's lost spark, or there's just something funky going on with that plug. Let's see if we get some fire here. Oh yeah, there was fire. So why does it not run? Put some Lucas in the crankcase. See if it can maybe help everything seal up. Also a little bit in the cylinder. So it's now or never, I guess. There's a chance it will foul that plug though, so yeah, I'll pull that out if it doesn't fire after a couple attempts and check it. Ow, my hand. Okay, I think I'm done playing games. Oh, there was something there. Come on. I'm gonna put the drill in speed 2. Double the danger. Trying to get it to where it's barely on the edge of the nut, so you know it doesn't destroy me or the drill when it fires. Okay. Come on, fire out the exhaust. I'm starting to think the ignition timing is out. I will very rarely feel this thing kind of kick the drill down as if it's trying to fire in the correct way on its own. But then every time it just spits it back out the carb. I dare say the exhaust has a tiny bit of heat in it. I mean, a tiny bit. I'm talking like a very small amount. Alright, so I filled the cylinder manually with brake clean. Well, not filled, but I put some in there, so let's see what this does. Oh, it kind of ran. Yes! Look at that. It fired out the exhaust at least once. we get it running, if we get it spinning fast enough, the ignition timing should be enough to run. Oh yeah, that's good enough for me. I'm going to finish up things and get the recoil cover back on so we can pull start it properly. Figure out what else needs fixed, and then yeah, even the governor. Look at this governor, how screwed up everything here is, and it isn't trying to run away, at least not yet. That's crazy. Took the bowl off to see what we have for a carburetor. The bowl itself ain't that bad. This jet right here is pretty well screwed. Plenty of rust in there, and that part right there is, well, yeah. Got another one to put in, so I'll clean the bowl out, spray out the main jet, and this carburetor might run as it is. Now, this is a problem. That's more than likely going to leak, but if it will allow me to just get fuel in this carburetor, I can then put a cutoff valve in the line and replace this line in the near future, even though it's actually not that hard. But regardless, put a cutoff valve so it won't leak too much fuel. If that carb will run the engine good enough, you know, with whatever it can hold in the bowl, then I will potentially try pressing a new fitting into there. Of course, it also means fixing these and that, but I think I've torn apart enough of these tecumseh carburetors that I can make about anything happen. Theoretically, so we will see. Because I'd like to keep this thing original. And before anybody says anything about this, just remember, the magnets on this flywheel are JB welded on right now. This is the least of anybody's concerns. Also, the lack of good bolt, or the lack of, yeah, none of this is ideal. But anyway, we're just gonna see if I can make this thing work off the carburetor now. That ran off of what was in the carburetor bowl, but it did just run. Despite the trashed governor system, the broken off fuel inlet, the magnets broken off of the flywheel and then JB welded back on, the tank that looks like it would break if I sneezed on it, the really messed up ignition system because of the magnets flying off, and this thing still ran off the carburetor bowl. If I can get this fuel inlet hooked up, I think this thing would sit here and idle and then run at full throttle and maybe even make a little bit of power. I don't know if it'll ever spin these again because, you know, it takes so much effort to get it started. But at least when it was running there, it was running relatively smooth. I think if I even took the choke off, it would have sped up. But, you know, because of where this is set, it was trying to run away. So, yeah, I was trying to turn it down. Seeing as how the inside of that differential for these tines on this thing looks absolutely perfect, but they still only go about a quarter rotation before they seize up completely solid. I've been beating on it with that little hammer trying to get them to move, but it don't move, so done playing games. Dang, someone stole my motor. This thing was toast. Those won't move. I don't know why. The pulley looked like it's welded on the back. So I'll see if I can force that out of there someday and find out what the heck's going on with it, but this thing's going to live a new life. That's something much better. Well, maybe not better, but I don't know. It will still be used for something, for good. Also, these were toast. I didn't even notice. This one kind of spins. So those were shot. The belts were shot. But the motor is safe and will be kept to be put back together properly, as it is a really rare design, having two outputs. If I can just spin it over without pulling it off the shelf here. So yeah, pretty cool. And if you've been watching everything I upload on the channel, then you would probably have noticed by now that this tiller is actually what the engine stand for both the Kohler 26 horsepower V-twin and then the Briggs & Stratton Intech 23 horsepower has been on top of.